Good afternoon. Welcome back. It is Wednesday, September 20th. We're already two-thirds of the way through the month of September, and it won't be long. We'll be getting into the fall months. I believe September 21st. I believe tomorrow may actually be the first day of fall. I forget how all that works out, but we're going to be getting into some cooler weather, and if you live in an area like I do, the leaves will be changing soon. I'm already enjoying the fact that my AC's not running half the day, so my electric bill is going to be going down. So very, very happy with that. Anyway, with that being said, we got a few birthdays to talk about and a few events. So we're going to go back to 1992 at Dover, and actually 87 as well, as Ricky Rudd won both of those races. Dover statistically was Rudd's best track. He had 4 wins there. Here, what was he won in the spring of 97, I believe, and then he won in the fall of 86, 87, and then 92. And the 92 one was pretty significant because it was his only win in 92. He had a lot of seasons where he won races in a row, where he won a race, but then he had a lot of years like 92 where he just barely squeaked out a win. And this win was a pit stop strategy win late in the race. He gambled and took 2 tires instead of 4 because they knew that was the only chance they had to win. And Bill Elliott, if the race would have been 1 or 2 more laps, Elliott would have caught him and passed him because Elliott took 4. But Rudd ended up winning that day. 1997, we talked about the Busch Series, how the Dover track was kind of a point on the schedule where a lot of drivers won their first race. 1997, no different. Joe Bessie wins his first and only Busch Series race. 1998 in the Indy Racing League at Texas Motor Speedway, John Paul Jr. wins. And this would be the only second IndyCar-style race that he would win. Of course, he won the Michigan 500 way back in, I believe it was 83. So 2 IndyCar wins, 2 500-mile races, and just completely opposite ends of the calendar as far as one was in the early 80s, one was in the late 90s. So a big, big drought there. 2003, another Busch Series Dover win, but this time it wouldn't be a driver's first career win, it would be their last. That would be Brian Vickers. Of course, this would be the season that he would win his only Busch Series championship. And in 2009, on this date, Mark Martin wins at Loudon in what ultimately would become his final Cup Series win. So Martin had 5 wins in 2009. Everybody thought, this is awesome. He finished second in points. And the next 2 years, he just really fell flat for whatever reason. And I think it was more the car than Mark, because Mark came back strong in the Michael Waltrip 55 car and had some really good runs there. So anyway, with a few birthdays here, born on this day in 1968, former Truck Series driver Lance Norick. He ran a lot of the early years in the Truck Series from like 96 to about 2002 or 3. Had a handful of top 5s, no wins. And if I remember reading about him correctly, his dad was mayor of Oklahoma City, I think. He had some affiliation with the government of Oklahoma City, at least his father did. Born on this day in 1967, former driver and current car owner of MBM Motorsports, Carl Long. And Carl, never had success at the top level, but he's always there. He's on David Starr's podcast, one of the early episodes, Let's Go Racing with David Starr. Very good interview. Really liked the detail Carl went into about talking how he got his start in racing, and all the way up to when he got fined by NASCAR for the big engine in the All-Star Open back in, 2008, 10, 12, somewhere thereabouts. And our final birthday, born on this day, 1975... He's won in Formula One. He's an Indy 500 champion. He's won in the Cup Series and is a former Cup Series Rookie of the Year. And in recent years, he's been on the road racing scene. That would be none other than JPM himself, Juan Pablo Montoya. Always liked him in NASCAR. Of course, he started out with the 42 car with Ganassi. Then they switched over to some Target livery. You'll see that here in just a second. I really like this card. I like this particular series in premium with the drivers and the trophy. Premium in the mid-2000s there, between 2008, 9 through about 11 and 12 really had some stellar cards, I think. Ignite was an okay brand, but, like this picture, Juan, you have the Earnhardt Ganassi logo there. Of course, he did have a top 10 in points one year. What was that? Like 2009, I believe it was. He finished 8th in points on the strength of a win at Watkins Glen and a really, really strong postseason. Juicy Fruit, one of the multiple mini sponsors that that team had. Here's a nice look at the 42 car. Of course, it was the same paint scheme that basically McMurray and Casey Mears had, but Juan got that first win in that car in 07 at Sears Point. There's a nice look at one of the COT cars with Target and all the different vendor sponsors. Here's another look. A COT with the spoiler instead of the wing. Then we have one of the ones that has kind of a patriotic paint job. You see some stripes, you see some stars, a little red, white, and blue there. What's our final one? Just another Target car. Looks like this one has the valence and not the splitter on it. So that's probably kind of post-COT. I'm not real sure. But yeah, Juan was... whoops, we just about knocked the camera over here. But JPM was... he reminded me a lot of like a Tony Stewart or a Jimmy Spencer. Very tenacious. Wasn't going to back down to anybody. And he would... Whatever the car had, that's what it was going to get. He couldn't... He wasn't going to make an 8th place car a 5th place car. It was going to be an 8th place car because he wasn't going to crash it trying to make it a 5th place car. And something, too, you guys may or may not agree with this. I always felt like Stewart and Gordon and very few others, he had a lot of car control. He could put the car in different groups, kind of like Larson and Reddick. You rarely see them spin out unassisted. And when they do spin out, it's because they just went over the line just a little bit, and it wasn't because it was just a blatant error. Obviously, it was an error in driving, but I always feel that he had a lot of car control. He knew what he wanted out of the car, and that was what he always got. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video today. As always, thanks for watching. If you get a chance, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe button. That would mean a lot to me, especially that subscribe button, because you'll have that notification turned on, and your phone will let you know every time I have a video that drops. So thanks again for watching. Appreciate everyone's support, and we will see you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday.